It was a cold October night in Seattle, the kind of night when the rain doesn't just fall, it whispers. I remember sitting in the passenger seat of Ethan's old blue Honda Civic, staring at the fog on the windshield. The world outside was quiet, except for the soft sound of raindrops tapping against the roof. Ethan had been my best friend since high school. We met in 10th grade when he accidentally spilled orange juice on my sketchbook. I was furious then, but that small accident started a friendship that would outlast almost everything else in my life. That night, he had offered to drive me home after our college reunion. Everyone else had already left. The streets were nearly empty, and the city lights shimmered through the wet air. We were both silent for a while, the kind of silence that happens only between two people who don't need words to feel comfortable. "Remember this song?" he asked suddenly, turning on the radio. It was "Chasing Cars" by Snow Patrol, our high school favorite. I smiled. "You still listen to this?" "Always," he said softly, eyes fixed on the road. "Some songs, they never grow old. Like some memories." I looked out the window, watching the rain slide down the glass. My heart was heavy that night. My parents had just announced they were moving out of state. My little brother was already settled in California, and I was about to start a new job in New York. Everything I knew, every piece of home, was breaking apart. "Ethan," I whispered, "I don't want to leave." He didn't respond right away. Instead, he pulled the car over near the old park, the same place we used to hang out after classes. The swings were still there, though rusted now. The playground lights flickered like tired stars. He turned off the engine. Silence filled the car except for the rhythmic sound of rain. "Do you remember the last time we were here?" he asked. "Yeah," I said with a small laugh. "You dared me to climb that old oak tree. I fell halfway, and I caught you," he reminded me. We both laughed quietly, the warmth of that memory cutting through the chill. After a long pause, Ethan said, "You're not the same person you were back then. You've grown, stronger, smarter, braver. You're going to do great things in New York." His voice trembled slightly, almost as if he were trying to convince himself more than me. I looked at him, and in that dim yellow streetlight filtering through the rain, he looked tired but kind, the same Ethan who had always been there when life got too heavy. "Why do you always have to make things easier?" I asked. "Don't you ever get tired of being everyone's hero?" He smiled faintly. "Maybe that's just what friends do." Then it happened. A sudden crack of thunder made me flinch. He reached out instinctively, placing his hand on mine. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't planned. It was simply human, two people trying to hold onto something familiar before life took them in opposite directions. In that backseat, we didn't talk about love, or promises, or forever. We just shared silence, the kind that says everything words can't. After a while, he leaned back and said, "Do you ever think about what life would be like if we'd chosen differently?" I turned toward him. "Maybe some stories are meant to stay halfway written." He nodded. "Maybe." We sat there for almost an hour, talking about dreams, about mistakes, about the time he lost his job and how he learned to start over. The rain outside kept falling, a steady rhythm that matched the beating of two hearts learning how to let go. When it was time to leave, he drove me to my apartment building. The streetlights glowed against the puddles. I opened the door, hesitating. "Ethan," I said, turning back. "Thank you for being the kind of person who never lets go first." He smiled softly. "And thank you for always coming back." I stepped out, and the cold air wrapped around me. As I watched his car disappear around the corner, I realized something. Love doesn't always mean staying together. Sometimes, it means remembering someone with gratitude instead of regret. Years passed. I built my career in New York. I met new people, lived in new places, and even fell in love again. But every time it rained, I'd find myself looking out the window, remembering that night, the fogged-up glass, the song playing softly, and the quiet comfort of the backseat. One day, years later, I received a small brown envelope in the mail. There was no return address. Inside was a photo, the park, that same oak tree, and two initials carved into the trunk, E and L. My heart stopped for a moment. Ethan had kept his promise. He said once he'd never forget the people who made him who he was. I smiled, tears filling my eyes. Maybe life had moved us apart, but some memories don't fade, they just find quieter places to live inside you. That night in the backseat didn't change my life because of something dramatic. It changed my life because it reminded me of something simple, that love isn't always about romance. Sometimes, it's about being seen, understood, and remembered. And even now, whenever it rains in New York, I still whisper to the window. Thank you, Ethan, for that night in the backseat, the night that changed everything without saying a word. Movie camera YouTube description, short. A heartfelt story about friendship, change, and the power of quiet love. Sometimes, the moments that seem small end up shaping who we become.